Alrighty, folks, how amazing was that last night? Never saw that coming, by the way. I'm watching the Super Bowl last night, waiting to watch the festivities. Saw the crowd go crazy when Trump and Melania walked into the stadium. That gave me chills. I just got chills again watching that because seeing the seated president, by the way, the first time a seated president has ever attended a Super Bowl live, first time ever Donald Trump did it. Don't forget, this man was almost assassinated twice. And he's going to a stadium with 90,000 people in it. It is unbelievable. That man is so freaking patriotic. He knows what America wants and what America needs to be healed. He's healing America by doing that, standing there with Ivanka saluting the flag as the national anthem was played. I'm getting chills just talking about that moment right there. All right, let's welcome back everyone. Happy Monday. The great Ted Nugent joins me now, and I'm sure he has plenty to say about what we saw last night at the Super Bowl. Ted, what'd you think of the game, first of all? And we'll get to the halftime show in a second, but man, when Trump walked in with Melania and the crowd went nuts, I mean, literally almost tears to my eyes. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, Eric Bolling, you're talking to the right guy because that was the first Super Bowl I've ever watched. I actually went to the Super Bowl where Jackson had a clothing foul. And Governor Perry
Janet Jackson,
and President Bush, and I was bored to tears. But I wanted to pay attention yesterday, and when our great commander-in-chief, when Donald Trump saluted during the Star-Spangled Banner, so did I. I stood up in the living room, and I wanted to see once again another confirmation that this commander-in-chief represents the heart and soul of the best Americans, which were present there in the Superdome down in New Orleans, Louisiana. It was a great, great moment. But once again, I give this President Donald Trump gets the Ted Nugent Lifetime T-Rex Scrotum of Defiance Award. He is so out of the ordinary. He is such a deep state cockroach stomper that the people of America have had enough during the 4 years of Biden, and they're standing up and they're literally going wild for this man, not just because he represents the best of the best, but mostly because he really aggravates and pisses off the worst of the worst. That's like a bonus. So yeah, I felt the same series of goosebumps that you were feeling, Eric.
Ted, you know, I go back to the before the election, the campaign in Butler, Pennsylvania in July, prior to November. There's something, like, you like Trump, you don't like Trump, doesn't matter, but there's something you can't teach. There are a lot of celebrities, a lot of high-powered people who put on a show, and you think it's just, you know, they've been taught, and they got handlers telling them how to act, what to do. They have aides saying, look over there, don't do this, if this happens. The man gets shot through the ear, almost assassinated. That natural reaction that came from within Donald Trump wasn't a billionaire from New York. It was a patriotic American who wanted to save this freaking country. He gets up, he pushes 5 Secret Service agents aside, and he raises a fist and says, fight, fight, fight. That's someone who couldn't fake it. That's not someone who was taught how to run for president, a la Barack Hussein Obama.
That's a street fighting son of a bitch right there. You know, I happen to know that President Trump, when we worked on his campaign in 2016, and I played the national anthem at a lot of his events, I'm telling you, my feet didn't touch the ground because I could tell that this guy had everything that the so-called materialistic American dream could ever beckon, but he was abandoning that because he saw our country going down the toilet. This is a statesman. This is a patriot. This is a founding father. He came to this Concord Bridge in this day and age, and he met the enemy at the bridge, and he's willing to fight, fight, fight. And I think it's very important. A lot of times people will say, well, it doesn't matter whether you like him or dislike him. Oh, yes, it does, because if you dislike Donald Trump, you dislike America. If you hate Trump, you hate secure borders, which means you hate America. If you hate Trump, it means you hate men competing against men instead of women, which means you hate America. So the other side is brain dead. They're soulless. They're nasty. They're actually consumed with hate because they hate freedom. They hate the Constitution and the commander-in-chief that represents those self-evident truths. So this is a very important time. And I'm a little bit more giddy than usual, Eric, because I see Donald Trump's actions representing the heart and soul of my neighbors in Michigan, my neighbors in Texas, my friends all across this land. And this guy's got both middle fingers on fire. And we love that about Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. We do indeed. Now, folks, you know Ted. I've known Ted a very long time. In fact, before I knew him, I grew up watching and listening to Ted and going to Ted Nugent concerts. Stranglehold, Wang Dang, Sweet, Poontang. I've loved every Ted Nugent song in the entire arsenal of Ted Nugent music. This is not a lie, you Ted, right? How many times have we talked about this? But here's what I want to get. I want to get the sense of an absolute rock star, superstar who packs stadiums filled with fans, adoring fans, just can't get enough of Ted, just can't get enough of Taylor Swift, except for last night. Take a listen. I don't know if you saw that on return, Ted, but Taylor Swift, we watched it live. Taylor Swift was shocked. She got booed. And that wasn't just a little boo. That was a resounding, stadium-filled boo. Give us a sense of what a superstar celebrity like yourself or Taylor Swift, what goes through your mind when you hear people actually booing me? Ted.
Well, there's two dynamics at play here. First of all, I've been ostracized and condemned by the entertainment industry because I stand up for really radical stuff like God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, Ten Commandments, Golden Rule, work ethic, law and order. But where Taylor Swift blew it, and let's admire the woman's work ethic. She got an incredible work ethic. I know what she goes to make these incredible presentations and concerts. So I don't think anybody would have booed her because of her career or her music, even though I hate pop music. I think it's like cartoon music. It's offensive to me. It's got no soul. But being that as it may, she was booed because she supported Joe Biden. She was booed because she hates the people at the Super Bowl. She was booed because she hates entrepreneurs and working hard, playing hard Americans who make sacrifices and take risks to be in the asset column so they can afford Super Bowl tickets. Those people booed her because she represents everything nasty about the Democrat Party, and she made the horrible mistake to stand up publicly and say, I hate hardworking people in the asset column. I think everybody should be in the liability column and support Kamala Harris. That's where she blew it, and I couldn't be more proud that the people at the Super Bowl made their belief system known in a very vocal fashion like that.
Big fan of football, Ted. The people on the show know that we make betting recommendations every week. I went from 2 or 3 years ago, probably the biggest I thought Travis Kelce could be the best tight end in the history of the game eventually, or be seen that certainly on the Mount Rushmore of the four greatest, if there were one, until he started hooking up with Taylor Swift. And here's what I think. So a lot on the left are saying, oh, well, Taylor was being booed by the Philadelphia Eagles fans. That's not true. She was booed by the whole stadium. Yeah, sure, the Eagles fans are going to boo her, but I believe that the Kansas City Chiefs fans realize that since Travis and Tay-Tay are a thing, Travis's game has gone to shit. I mean, he had a horrible Super Bowl last night, and I think the next time she shows her face in the skybox at Kansas City, she's going to get booed even worse at home. Thoughts?
I had a lot of friends there from Kansas. Great rock and roll state, great hunting state, great state. The founding fathers of HunterNation.org, Keith Mark and his family, Don Jr. were there, Rock Borderland, the people from the Pursuit Channel, where the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show is the most watched hunting show in the history of the world, 8 times a week. The Pursuit Channel, it's awesome. So I had some really hell-raising, shit-kicker blood brothers in attendance there. And they were there for the athleticism and the warrior gladiator spirit of those incredible athletes, both the Chiefs and the Eagles. But they really are against people like Taylor Swift, who stands against the very heartbeat of those in attendance. And you're right, I've never watched the Super Bowl. I've seen the highlights, and I really enjoy the highlights because those are incredible athletes. And my buddy Kirk Gibson, one of the greatest moments in the history of baseball, he came out of the dugout playing Stranglehold on his headphones, by the way, when he went up against Tommy Lasorda and demanded a pinch hit and then won the game. I know these guys. These are my campfire deer hunting shit kicker buddies.
He had an injured leg, right? And he goes deep and he hobbles around the bases just to make it home. That was an iconic moment as well for some of the folks. You can look it up on YouTube for some that don't remember. We watch it live, though. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's all right. Bottom line is what you're representing, Eric, and God bless you, man, because the First Amendment has never been more important. Without the First Amendment, we couldn't fight for self-evident truth like the Second Amendment and all the other amendments and all the freedoms that are unique to this experiment in self-government. So God bless you and everybody at Real America's Voice, and Jesse Waters is doing a great job, and Tucker Carlson is always right on the point with truth, logic, and common sense. But what we have always fought for against the legacy media that are just a bunch of scam artists and a bunch of paid-off deep state puppets. What you're doing and what I do on Real America's Voice, my wife has a faith in freedom, and the response we get to the self-evident truth, logic, and common sense that Eric Bolling represents was alive and well at that Superdome, at that Super Bowl yesterday. And it's alive and well on the not-so-mean streets of this great country. So I want to thank everybody out there. Thank you. Thank all these different podcasters and this technology that allows our First Amendment to resonate against the scam artists and the Democrat puppets of the legacy media. So you're doing God's work. And there's a biblical quote my wife keeps telling me, that we were sent for times such as this, and we're wearing the armor of God to get truth, logic, and common sense in the forefront. And I think we saw it in New Orleans with those great National Guards and the military. I had a bunch of U.S. Marshals down there, the New Orleans Police Department, the Louisiana State Troopers. I have a bunch of buddies down there that I go duck hunting with, and I was getting update reports. But what a great moment in these terrorist times after January 1st, 2025, and the different events that are taking place because Joe Biden welcomed in terrorists. Our government, Uncle Sam, ushered in terrorists by the millions into this country. Now, people go, Nugent claims there's millions of terrorists. You think? The point being is that we need to keep spotlighting cockroaches, and you're doing a great job, and I'm definitely humbled and honored and privileged and appreciative to be invited on to speak my First Amendment.
You and I have been doing this for ages, from Fox to Sinclair, et cetera. And you're right; these guys at RAV are doing a great job. Charlie Kirk's here, Bannon's here, Jack Posobiec, yourself. It's a great group that Rob Sigurds put together at RAV. Really good folks here. And I just taped the show here. I'm not on it, but that it's a long life. You never know what's going to happen. Trump put a nail in the Tay-Tay coffin, so to speak, when he tweeted or truthed from Truth Social. Truthed this, he said, quote, "The only one that had a worse night than Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving." Now, let's move on to this one, though, Ted. Representative Jasmine Jazzy Jazz Crockett from Texas says people of color will be rounded up. Take a listen to this soundbite.
I do believe that fear is truly warranted in the sense that people of color are just going to be rounded up. I mean, we've lived it, especially as Black folk in this country, right? Like, it's the racial profiling. And so whether you're a U.S. citizen, whether you are here as a DACA recipient, whether you are undocumented, whether you are naturalized, whatever your situation is, I think that if you can be mistaken for being a brown person, that you should be concerned, because there is nothing that is tatted on anybody's head that says I'm undocumented or I'm a citizen, right?
So, Ted, Jasmine Jazz Crockett says if you're Black, brown, Asian, whatever, Trump's going to round you up. Your thoughts on this nonsense? It's nonsense.
Well, I don't really have to give it much thought, because stupid is as stupid does. I mean, Bill Clinton deported millions. Barack Obama deported millions. Joe Biden welcomed in millions, even though they did deport some. But what Donald Trump is doing is so truth, logic, and common sense good for America. So these people that are afraid of the government against brown people are Democrats, which is still the party of the Klan that they filibustered against the Civil Rights Act. How can she not know this? How can they? Well, I'll tell you how they not know it, because the teachers union has made sure that we graduate the dumbest people that ever slithered across the earth, and that now that we're investigating and auditing the education department, maybe we can pursue something that smells like education. Eric, this is, I'm a big fan of comedy, and even though this stuff is hysterically laughable, it's also very painful because they get to spew their lies without any pushback. And that's what I've always done. When somebody tries to tell me to do something stupid or that there's a stupid law, I go, well, take a moment. My name is Rosa Parks. That's a black ass and that's a bus seat. I'm putting my Rosa Parks ass on that bus seat, whether you wear your bedding on your head or not. We have to think, man, think, and be defiant against immorality. Some of these laws, all gun laws, are infringements. Yep. We should absolutely get rid of the ATF. Right now, probably get rid of the FBI, get rid of the DEA. They're using their drug money and drugs for their own parties. I mean, the documentation, the evidence is just mind-boggling what's going on. So Donald Trump is coming in to clean house. How dare a judge say we the people are not allowed to audit the books of the education system or the military?
Or USAID.
We're performing an audit.
That huge slush fund, USAID. And there's idiots that say, oh, he's not, Elon Musk isn't elected. Got news for you, folks, you Democrat dumbasses. Neither was the Attorney General Garland. No one of them are, they're not elected. They serve at the pleasure of the president. Elon Musk is no different than 10,000 other people that work for Barack Obama or Joe Biden, who are told and charged to do things. Open the border, let people in, give money to BLM, let them riot in the streets. Those are unelected as well. So this whole idea that Elon's not elected is absolutely, cry yourself a river somewhere else. Ted, Somalia, I use Somalia. She's from Somalia. She claims to represent the people of Minnesota. But Congresswoman Ilhan Omar seems to think that cutting out governmental waste is a constitutional crisis. Listen.
Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution in honoring Congress's role in the creation of the agencies, in their role in deciding where money is allocated.
So, and remember, this is the woman who said her first priority to a group of Somalis was to Somalia, not Minnesota or her district.
Yeah, well, I wonder if she gets advice from her brother husband. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
You're
What's
not
going
kidding.
on in this country?
Folks, wait, hold on. Let's call this out. That's not bigoted or racist. This has actually happened. She married her brother so that he could get citizenship. I digress. Go ahead, Ted.
And by the way, once again, I criticize Kendrick Lamar, whatever that slop was during the halftime. I criticize him. I get to criticize people regardless of the color of their skin. I criticize based on content or lack thereof their character. I also thought that John Batiste's national anthem was absolutely as soulful and moving as I've ever. It sounded like Motown. It's like I felt James Brown. I felt Wilson Pickett in the house. I felt the Motown Funk Brothers. So I make judgments based on performance, integrity.
Take it one step further, Mr. Musician. Did you like America the Beautiful with the jazz flavor to it? From
Awesome.
From New Orleans?
I wanted to strum my guitar right along with those guys and that trombone player and that vocalist and then the tuba guy with the boom, boom.
Yeah.
I love soulful stuff. And believe me, my name is Ted Nugent. I'm from Detroit, born in 1948 when the Funk Brothers ruled the world. And they still do rule the world of soulful music. So I like soulful stuff, whether it's ZZ Top or the Ted Nugent Band or some tuba player in New Orleans doing the national anthem. I can tell when music has spirit and soul. And that was a great job. Just like John Batiste, I think that's his name.
Yeah,
I don't
Batiste,
know anything about him, but that was so Motown-like. It was just wonderful. That's why I just couldn't stand the thing that Kendrick Lamar, whatever. I mean, I wrote a social media post that, hey, Kendrick, you suck, because it was just horrible. I mean, I give them credit for the incredible rehearsal they must have gone through to do all that stuff, but God, did I...
It was terrible, Ted.
It was
awful.
the worst halftime ever.
Listen, I really enjoy, believe it or not, I love Ted Nugent. I love classic. I love Ted Nugent guitars. I love Aerosmith. I love Rolling Stones. I also really enjoy hip-hop music. I actually like some of Kendrick Lamar's music, the ones that aren't about killing cops, but I just get into the beat, I just like it.
Unfortunately, it's not a drummer doing the beat; it's some machine.
Right, but here's that. Whatever that garbage was last night, had this. No one recognized it. No one wanted to hear it. This is not a time for him to sell downloads. It was a time to unite the country. It was god awful. I was hoping it would stop. I even tweeted, make it stop. But Ted, I would love to see Ted Nugent on that. I would like to see a classic rock revival. One of my favorite halftime was Tom Petty. That was one of the best halftime shows I've ever seen in my life. Final thought before I let you go on your very busy schedule.
Well, number one, thanks for having me on, because I don't just represent the Nugent family. I represent Linda and Doug and my band and my crew and my hunting buddies and the Ted Nugent Sunrise Safaris and the hundreds of hunters that I share campfires with, the working hard, playing hard Americans that come up to me every day, everywhere I go, and thank me for standing up for real America, that we are now back on a true north compass setting thanks to Donald Trump and his entire team. Let's have accountability. Let we, the people, know what our elected employees are doing and whether they're performing up to our demands and constitutional accountability. Call me an extremist, but thanks for letting me mouth off, because I do this every day because I'm a free man and I make my decisions for my destiny, and that's the American dream, which is why everybody wants to come here. But if you're going to come here, come legally. You can only withdraw money from your bank account, not my bank account. You got to come here legally. So Eric, carry on. God bless truth, logic, and common sense, and President Trump.
All right, Ted, I'm not sure I'm even allowed to do this because all the legal things that come with music or not. Can you sing along with me a little bit? Ready?
Yeah, go nuts.
Sometimes you gotta get higher. Sometimes you gotta get low. Some people say you're gonna die someday. I got news, you never gotta go.
Hit me! I love this music!
Ted, I love you, brother. What a patriot, folks. Ted Nugent, everybody. You know, folks, when I think of Goya, I think of great foods. I think of great products. I think of great ingredients, and rice, beans. They have a whole assortment of different types of breads, hearts of palm, olives. Great ingredients go into their foods. I also think of an international conglomerate food corporation. And I also think of this, and this is very important. The founding family, the guy who runs Goya is Bob Unanue. The founding family of Goya is a tremendous patriot, pro-America, America first, pro-Trump patriot. So you're down the grocery aisle and you have all these choices of different types of foods, and you see Goya, just understand you're supporting someone who cares about America and Americans. Goya Foods. In 2021, Goya launched Goya Cares, a global initiative to protect children and educate children on mental health. Goya Cares is providing schools and community centers with a preventative education curriculum and a free assembly that includes the viewing of the movie called Press Pause by Goya Cares. Press Pause is intended to raise awareness regarding mental health issues, abuse, and bullying among children, teens, and in our communities. Press Pause is an educational film following 15-year-old Sofia Rodriguez as she navigates adolescence, self-doubt, and an abusive relationship amid her parents' turbulent divorce, set within the cultural context of her Hispanic family. The film explores her discomfort with unwanted attention from her uncle and the pressures of maintaining a facade of perfection in high school. It introduces the Press Pause campaign promoting kindness and advocacy, highlighted by Sophia leaving a note saying "You matter" for a bullied peer. The film encourages open family communication about mental health and culminates in Sophia's transformative realization of her right to seek help. Through the power of empathy and small acts of kindness, Press Pause displays the importance of being proactive in supporting one's community and underscores the critical importance of self-advocacy. All righty, folks, time for today's Truth Bomb. So something incredible happened during last night's Super Bowl festivities leading up to the actual game that probably made every Democrat in America squirm in their seat or turn off their TV. Donald Trump became the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl ever and was met with a roaring ovation as he and the First Lady walked onto the field right before kickoff. Watch. that was a very, very special, iconic moment. A few minutes later, during the playing and singing of the national anthem, there was an amazing picture of the First Lady, Donald Trump and Ivanka, standing there saluting. It was a moment, folks. America loves this family. And all was right with the world again. The Super Bowl last night was a microcosm of our new truth. And this is what the new truth is. America is back. Reason is back. Common sense is back. We're all back. And all was right with the world. This country no longer belongs to the left. The president of these United States attended the Super Bowl for the first time ever as a seated president, meeting with families of victims of the attacks in New Orleans on New Year's Day. The leaders of the free world walked onto the field to big, resounding, roaring, patriotic cheers. He stood there in the crowd and saluted as the Star-Spangled Banner rang out. And when the camera panned over to where President Donald Trump was standing, the crowd went crazy, went nuts, showing their resounding appreciation and approval of the 45th and now 47th president. And all was right with the world. The guy who shilled for Big Pharma, Travis Kelce, lost. Greatest loser, biggest loser. There he is right there. What, you needed 2 shots, Travis? And even he was excited about having the Don at the Super Bowl.
So you can also what your reaction was to finding out the president would meet with you on Sunday?
That's awesome. It's a great honor. I think, no matter who the president is, I know I'm excited because it's the biggest game of my life, and having the president there, it's the best country in the world. So.
Too bad you dropped 2 important passes, Travis, but all was right with the world again. You gotta love that. Taylor Swift, the billionaire superstar pop singer who came out against Donald Trump, booed, not just a little boo, resoundingly booed. She was booed on camera, much to her own shock, much to the world's shock. And then Taylor Swift had to watch her boyfriend get shellacked by the team he beat 2 years ago. Tay-Tay didn't get to rush to the field to her vaccine-riddled boyfriend Travis in a cloud of his victorious opiate. The world is healing. America is healing. The elitists are now losers, the biggest losers, in fact. And all was right with the world last night. By the way, the end of an era's Taylor Swift's little concert tour. The New York Post nailed it once again. And the final nail in the Swift coffin was this post by the president himself. This is unbelievable. I was reading this morning on the way in. I couldn't believe this. The only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. Ain't that the truth, Mr. President? It is, Mr. President. It is most certainly unforgiving. We are, and we've only just begun. Let's get into it. MAGA has had quite a week, and we know it. We watched the president parlay his vision for the Gaza Strip to that shock of the world in the best possible way.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too.
We watched Democrats cry over having their personal piggy bank shut down for good.
Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses.
We have days to stop the destruction of our democracy. We have work to do. Tell Elon Musk to take his hands off your money. We don't pledge allegiance to the creepy 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
And goddamn it, shut down the city! We are at war!
We will win! We will win! We won't rest! We won't rest!
Chuck Schumer, what the hell is that, Chucky? And by the way, Jazzy Jasmine Crockett, sit down. Calm down, Jazz, calm down. We could have snowflakes melt down on repeat. It's that good. And the takedown continues. More and more are being uncovered. The deeper Elon Musk delves into the years-long corruption at USAID. And he's now digging into FEMA, the Department of Education, and the FBI, and the Pentagon. Everyone is so effed. Chop it all up, shut it all down. And that was just last week alone, folks. But that week culminated in a victorious president wooing the Super Bowl crowd, something that has never seemed possible, wouldn't seem possible a year ago. And then watching the Taylor Swift and the Chiefs lose, Taylor Swift getting booed and the Chiefs lose, it was glorious last night. I don't know about you. I bet on the Chiefs and lost, and I was crying with happiness when I saw what happened. Also, serious question. Did Elon Musk also cut off the funding to the Kansas City Chiefs with the death of USAID? Because that's how bad that game was, but I digress.
What's more shocking about this type of games? That we haven't played that bad all year.
Did they do anything that surprised you guys at all?
No.
Or keep everyone going on the sidelines? Was it difficult today?
I mean, just couldn't find that spark.
2 first downs. Travis, you dropped them. Right in your hand. You dropped them. You look up at Tay-Tay. Do you have the ring underneath your helmet? Well, the Chiefs couldn't find that spark. America is one big spark now, one beautiful sparkler, in fact. And those who worked against the grain of our growth, our spark, they're feeling the effects of that now. But as much as parts of America are healing, some are intent on always remaining the same. Legacy media, the old school, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, even Fox a little bit, just couldn't handle a little sports heckling. This headline wants you to believe that Taylor Swift and the president, president being cheered while Taylor Swift being booed by the opposing team was somehow misogyny, says Glamour. Taylor Swift was booed at the Super Bowl and Donald Trump was cheered. What's going on? Aren't we over this particular kind of misogyny? So this Super Bowl crowd is misogynistic. It's half women. You idiots, Glamour, you clowns. Guys, can everyone please calm the F down? A billionaire 35-year-old pop singer who joined the attacks on Donald Trump got booed by those supporting, loving Trump, but supporting the team playing against her boy toy in the freaking Super Bowl. Can the snowflakes just calm the hell down and shut the hell up? You're done. If Taylor Swift is feeling so bad, maybe she should get another jab from the company she shills for, or maybe do some snow angels in a pile of her cash. Either way, Tay-Tay will be just fine. Meanwhile, Democrats are out there threatening war and violence in the streets against government workers, against Elon Musk, against President Trump. Lefties hovered outside the private homes of our Supreme Court justices and threatened their safety and the safety of their families. So spare us the melting down snowflakes and the tears over a little booing about Taylor Swift. You know what else remains the same? The fact that, win or lose, Philadelphia was going to cause great damage to their own streets. The fact that a win still produces chaos in Philly because they just can't help themselves, win or lose. And that's, look at those scenes, folks. That's a winning team. And that's just supposed to be an accepted thing, I guess, in Philadelphia, that Democrat-run city, because deal with it. Despite those things, the fact remains. Last night was a prime example of how much America has already healed. It's in the process of getting better of 4 years of bullshit. 8 years of Obama bullshit, and then 4 years of Biden, Kamala Harris bullshit. A preview of the golden era coming of age right now. And all was right with the world. All right, that's so, on Friday I was wearing my Hard Rock Bet shirt, which is my app on the phone where I go almost every hour. So I shouldn't say hour. Every day for sure, but every once in a while I go there a couple times a day. Hard Rock Bet's amazing, folks, by the way. I love this app. So bet on the Super Bowl. Well, do we have those screens? Sure. I told you on Friday I was going to bet the Chiefs. I bet the Chiefs. Look at that. I lost. There's $1,000 there. There's $2,000 there. I lost. But I also made some other bets. I bet Saquon Barkley having a long reception, as well as Devontae Smith having a long reception. Keep going. Let's go through these things. I'm loving this. I bet $3,000 on the over, 48.5. Crushed it. I got a little cocky, too. I started betting some of the other games then, too. I bet over 52.5. I bet a couple of parlays. In essence, we had a huge night on Super Bowl. What? Follow the show. Just follow the show. We'll tell you how to bet. We'll have some fun with it, too. And we, as always, we love Hard Rock Bets.